The barren planet stretched endlessly beneath a pale, sickly sun. Commander Elias Vorn had been stationed at Outpost Sigma 9 for 6 months, a lone human amidst the frozen metal spires and cracked red soil. Supplies were dwindling, and the radio remained stubbornly silent except for static. The silence, once comforting, had grown oppressive. That morning, as Elias scanned the horizon with his binoculars, he spotted movement, 3 figures emerging from the jagged ridges. They were humanoid but unlike any species he had encountered in the Federation's records. Their skin shimmered faintly, a gradient of silver to violet, and their eyes glowed with an eerie bioluminescence. Elias's pulse quickened. Protocol dictated caution, but curiosity, and perhaps loneliness, prevailed. He waved, broadcasting a universal gesture of peace. The 3 women responded with a series of melodious hums. After a tense pause, he activated the outpost's airlock. The doors hissed open, and they entered, moving with elegant grace, their gazes scanning every corner. "Welcome. I'm Elias Vorn," he said cautiously. "You're safe here." One of them stepped forward, her voice echoing in his mind rather than his ears. "We have come to observe." Elias blinked. "Telepathy." He swallowed. "Observe, what exactly?" "Your species' potential," the second one answered. "We judge not only survival but continuity." A cold knot formed in his stomach. Continuity. Breeding. He forced a smile. "Well, I suppose I can demonstrate survival skills." The 3 women exchanged a glance. "Demonstration begins at dawn," the first whispered. That night, Elias couldn't sleep. He walked the outpost corridors repeatedly, hearing the subtle musical hums drifting through the ventilation system. Every gesture the women made seemed deliberate, assessing. When he tried to engage them in casual conversation, their responses were polite but cryptic. By sunrise, he felt like an exhibit in a living museum. At dawn, he followed them to the outer perimeter. They gestured toward the barren plains. The first task, a hunt. Elias had only basic tools, a plasma rifle, a few energy grenades, but the terrain was unforgiving. He moved cautiously, guided by their subtle telepathic nudges. Each time he succeeded in tracking or capturing a specimen of the alien fauna, the women observed silently, jotting nothing, but Elias could feel their approval or disapproval, like a cold wind brushing his spine. Hours passed. The sun climbed higher, scorching the outpost's metal surfaces. Elias noticed subtle patterns in their judgment. They weren't merely testing survival skills. They were watching how he made decisions under pressure, how he treated life, human or alien, with integrity. He realized, with a sinking sense of dread, that the breeding they mentioned was not just hypothetical. They were evaluating his genetics, temperament, and compatibility for their species' interstellar reproduction criteria. By midday he was exhausted. The women led him to the outpost's observation deck. A shimmering panel descended from the ceiling, projecting a holographic interface of alien DNA sequences, compatibility metrics, and behavioral analyses. Elias's stomach churned as he recognized the implications. Their society did not merely coexist with other species. They assimilated or judged them to ensure the strongest traits survived. "Your species," the third woman's mind voice resonated in his consciousness, "shows promise. But promise alone does not suffice." Elias's hand shook. "And if I fail?" "Failure is elimination," she said simply. The word hung in the air like a knife. Panic surged, but he steadied himself. He had trained for emergencies, but nothing had prepared him for a test like this. Drawing upon every skill he had, logic, empathy, resilience. He began answering their mental inquiries, revealing his moral compass, his commitment to survival, and his ability to nurture. Each answer was scrutinized, analyzed. The air felt heavy, as if the walls themselves weighed in on his performance. Hours merged into a tense continuum. Then, unexpectedly, one of the women touched his arm. A surge of warmth and understanding passed through him. "You are more than your species allows you to believe." The others nodded, telepathy vibrating softly like a chord. "We have judged." Elias exhaled. Relief and fear mingled. "Oh, I passed." "You have passed the survival portion. Compatibility is promising. However, your species' weaknesses are noted. Continuous observation required." "What does that mean for me?" "You will remain here under our guidance. For the betterment of both species." The words did not bring comfort, only a new responsibility. Elias understood he was no longer merely a commander of a human outpost. He was now a bridge between humanity and an alien civilization whose judgment could alter the course of his species' future. That night, as he watched the twin moons rise over the jagged horizon, the three women returned to the observation deck. Their gazes were soft, no longer assessing but contemplative. For the first time, Elias felt a strange kinship, a sense that their judgment had evolved into something more nuanced, a recognition of his humanity, resilience, and potential. "You may rest," the first whispered, "but be aware. Our species watches, learns, and waits. Survival is not enough. Growth defines worth." Elias sank into the reinforced chair, exhaustion and awe battling within him. He knew the coming months would test him in ways he had never imagined. Yet, somewhere deep in his chest, a spark of hope ignited. Humanity might yet earn its place among the stars, not through conquest, but through resilience, intellect, and the ability to endure scrutiny from beings whose morality and logic transcended his understanding. The alien women watched him silently, guardians of a future that depended as much on judgment as on survival. Elias closed his eyes, ready to meet the challenges of dawn. The universe was vast, cold, and indifferent, but now, somehow, it felt like it had noticed him.